Good evening. It's January 11th. We're going to read Genesis 24:52 through 26:16, Matthew 8:18 through 34, Psalms 10:1 through 13, Proverbs 3:1 to 2. All right, let's do this. January 11th, Genesis 22:50 through Genesis 22:52, 24:52, through 26:16. When Abraham's servants heard their decision, he bowed in worship before God. Then he brought out the gifts of silver and gold and clothing and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave expensive gifts to her brother and mother. He and his men had supper the night and spent the night. But first thing in the morning they were up. He said, "Send me back to my master." Her brother and mother said, "Let the girl stay a while, so say another 10 days and then go." He said, "Oh, don't make me wait. God, you has worked everything out so well. Send me off to my master." They said, "We'll call the girl. We'll ask her." They called Rebekah and asked her, "Do you want to go with this man?" She said, "I'm ready to go." So they sent them off. Their sister Rebekah with her nurse, and Abraham's servant with his men. And they blessed Rebekah, saying, "You're our sister. Live bountifully, and your children triumphantly." Rebekah and her young maids mounted the camels and followed the man. The servant took Rebekah and set off for home. Isaac was living in Negev. He had just come back from a visit to Beer Lahal Roy. In the evening, he went out in the field. While meditating, he looked up and saw camels coming. When Rebekah looked up and saw Isaac, she got down from her camel and asked the servant, "Who is that man in the field coming towards us?" She said, "This is my master." She took her veil off and she took her veil and covered herself. After the servant told Isaac the whole story of the trip, Isaac took Rebekah into the tent of his mother Sarah. He married Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. So Isaac found comfort after his mother's death. Abraham married a second time. His new wife was named Keturah. She gave birth to Zamir, Jokshan, Medan, Midan, Ishbak, and Shuha. Here's what the names again, guys. Just bear with me. Jokshan and Sheba and Dedan. Dedan's descendants were with Ashurim and Lethishim and Lamimim. Midian and Eper Hanok, Abida, and Eldah, all from the line of Keturah. But Abraham gave everything he possessed to Isaac. While he was still living, he gave gifts to the sons he had by his concubines, but then sent them away to the country of the east, putting a good distance between them and his son Isaac. Abraham lived 175 years. Then he took his final breath. He died happy at a ripe old age, full of years. He was buried with his family. His son Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Mechpath in the field of Ephron, son of Zohar and Hittite, next to Mamre. It was the field that Abraham had bought from the Hittites. Abraham was buried next to his wife Sarah. After Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac. Isaac lived at Beer Lahai Roy. This is the family. This will be fun. This is the family tree of Ishmael, son of Abraham, the son of Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's maid, born to Abraham. These are the names of Ishmael's sons in order of birth: Naboth, Ishmael's firstborn; Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hedad, Tema, Jatur, Napshish, Kedem, all these sons of Ishmael. Their settlements and encampments were named after them, 12 princes with their 12 tribes. Ishmael lived 137 years. When he breathed his last breath and died, he was buried with his family. His children settled down all the way from Havilah near Egypt, eastward to Shur in the direction of Assyria. The Ishmaelites didn't get along with any of their kin. This is the family tree of Isaac, son of Abraham. Abraham had Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel. The Aramine of Padam, Era. She was the sister of Laban the Aramine. Isaac prayed hard to God for his wife because she was barren. God answered his prayer, and Rebekah came pregnant. But the children tumbled and kicked inside her so much that she said, "Is this the way it's going to be? Why go on living?" She went to God to find out what was going on. God told her, "Two nations are in your womb, two people butting heads while still in your body. One people will overpower the others, and the other will serve the younger." When her time to give birth came, sure enough, there were twins in her womb. The first came out reddish, as if snugly wrapped in a hairy blanket. The name they named him Esau, which means hairy. His brother followed, his fist clutched tight to Esau's heel. They named him Jacob, which means heel. Isaac was 60 years old when they were born. The boys grew up. Esau became an expert hunter and outdoorsman. Jacob was a quiet man, preferring life indoors among the tents. Isaac loved Esau because he loved his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. One day Jacob was cooking a stew. Esau came in from the field, starved. Esau said to Jacob, "Give me some of that red stew. I'm starved." That's how he came to be called Edom, red. Jacob said, "Make me a trade, my stew for your rights as the firstborn." Esau said, "I'm starving. What good is the birthright if I'm dead?" Jacob said, "First swear to me," and he did. An oath. Esau traded away his rights as the firstborn. Jacob gave him bread and stew and lentils. He ate and drank, got up and left. That's how Esau shrugged off his rights as the firstborn. There was a famine in the land, as bad as the famine during the time of Abraham, and Isaac went down to Amalek, king of the Philistines, in Gerar. God appeared to him and said, "Don't go down to Egypt. Stay where I tell you. Stay here in the land, and I'll be with you and bless you. I'm going with you and your children, all the lands, fulfilling the oath that I swore to your father Abraham. I'll make you your descendants as many as the stars in the sky, and give them all these lands. All the nations of the earth will get a blessing for themselves through your descendants." And why? Because Abraham obeyed my sermon and kept my charge, my commandments, my guidings, my teachings. So Isaac stayed put in Gerar. The men of the place questioned him about his wife. He said, "She's my sister." Then he was afraid to say, "She's my wife." He was thinking, "They might kill me to get Rebekah. She's so beautiful." One day after they had been there quite a long time, Amalek, king of the Philistines, looked out his window and saw Isaac fondling his wife Rebekah. Amalek sent for Isaac and said, "So she's your wife. Why did you not tell us she's my sister?" Isaac said, "Because I thought I might get killed by someone who wanted her." Amalek said, you might have done, but think of what you might have done to us. Given a little more time, one of the men might have slept with your wife. You would have been responsible for bringing guilt down on us." Then Amalek gave orders to his people, "Anyone who so much as lays a hand on this man or his wife dies." Isaac planted crops in the land and took in a huge harvest. God blessed him. The man got richer and richer by the day, until his very wealth he accumulated flocks and herds and many, many servants, so much that the Philistines began to envy him. They got back at him by throwing dirt and debris in the wells that his father's servants had dug back in the days of his father Abraham, clogging up all the wells. Finally, Amalek told Isaac, "Leave. You become far too big for us." So the breakdown for Genesis 24:52 and 26:16. It says the section shows God's faithfulness across generations. Abraham's servant worships God as Rebekah is confirmed as Isaac's wife. God keeps his covenant moving forward. Isaac steps into Abraham's blessings, and God reassures him during famine. "Stay where I place you, and I will provide." Isaac obeys, and God prospers him so greatly that others become jealous. The lesson is simple: obedience brings blessing. Wow. Even when circumstances say otherwise, God's promises don't lie with one generation. They multiply when faith is passed on. We are now in Matthew 8:18 through 34. All right. Matthew 8:18 through 34. When Jesus saw that a curious crowd was growing by the minute, he told his disciples to get out of there to the other side of the lake. As they left, a religion scholar, asked if he could go along. I'll go with you, whatever. I'll go with you wherever, he said. Jesus was curt. Are you ready to rough it? We're not staying in the best inns, you know. Another follower said, Master, excuse me for a couple of days, please. I have my father's funeral to take care of. Jesus refused. First things first. Your business is life, not death. Follow me. Pursue life. Then he got in the boat, his disciples with him. The next thing they knew, they were in the severe storm. Waves were crashing in the boat, and he was sound asleep. They roused him, pleading, Master, save us. We were going to drown. Jesus reprimanded him. Why are you such cowards, such faint hearted? Then he stood up and told the winds to be silent and quiet. Silence. The sea became smooth as glass. The men rubbed their eyes, astonished. What's going on here? Wind and sea stand up and take notice at his command. They landed in the country of the Gardenrins and were met by two madmen, victim of demons, coming out of the cemetery. The men had terrorized the region for so long that no one considered it safe to walk down that stretch of road anymore. Seeing Jesus, the madmen screamed out, What business do you have giving us a hard time? You're the Son of God. You weren't supposed to show up here yet. Off in the distance, a herd of pigs were gazing and rooting. The evil spirits begged Jesus, If you kick us out of these men, let us live in the pigs. Jesus said, Go ahead, but get out of here. Crazed, the pigs stampeded over a cliff and into the sea and drowned. Scared to death, the swineherders bolted. They told everyone back in town what had happened to the madmen and the pigs. Those who had heard about it were angry about the drowned pigs. A mob formed and demanded that Jesus get out and not come back. So the recap of Matthew 8:18 through 34, Jesus calls people to count the cost of following him. This isn't comfort, it's commitment. He then shows his authority over the nature by calming the storm and over demons by freeing the possessed men. The disciples learn that fear shrinks when faith grows, but the townspeople reject Jesus because his power disrupts their economy and comfort. The message is clear. Jesus has total authority, but not everyone wants the freedom he brings. It costs them something. That's true. That's true of me for many, many years. It's fun being in the comfort in it, but moving sometimes it's kind of a scary thing, but gosh, that's where the peace is, y'all. Psalms 10:1 through 13. God, are you avoiding me? Where are you when I need you? Full of hot air and wicked are hot on the trail of the poor. Trip them up and tangle them up in their fine-tuned plots. The wicked are windbags. The swindlers have foul breath. The wicked snub God. Their noses stuck high in the air. Their graffiti are scrawled on the walls. Catch us if you can. God is dead. They care for nothing for what you think. If you get in their way, they blow you off. They live, they think, a charmed life where we can't go wrong. This is our lucky year. They carry a mouthful of spells. Their tongues spit venom like a adder's, which is a snake. They hide behind ordinary people. They pounce on victims. They mark their luckless. They wait like a hunter in the blind. When the poor wretched wanderers are too close, they stab him in the back. The hapless fool is kicked to the ground. The unlucky victim is brutally axed. He thinks God has dumped him. He's sure that God is indifferent to his plight. Time to get up. God get moving. The luckless think they're God forsaken. They wonder why the wicked scorn God and get away with it. When the wicked are so cocksure, they'll never come up for audit. That was a lot. We need a breakdown of that. Psalms 10:1 through 13. This Psalms is a raw cry for honesty. David asks why God seems distant while the wicked prosper. Oh my God. Okay. I love the Bible and I love Jesus. I love God. He's my number one person. Why have I missed that in all the years I grew up in a church, but all the years I've missed that. That one verse has been me. I can't tell you how many times. God asks why, the Psalms is a raw cry of honesty. David asks why God seems distant while the wicked prosper. The arrogant abuse the poor and think they'll never be held accountable. But that isn't doubt. It's faith talking out loud. David exposes the lie that God doesn't see. The takeaway: when injustice feels loud and God feels quiet, don't stop praying. God sees, God knows, and judgment is never late. Wow. Needed that about 9 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm going to read that again. The takeaway: when justice feels loud and God feels quiet, don't stop praying. God sees, God knows, and judgment is never late. All right, let's wrap it up. Proverbs 3, 1 through 2. Good friend, don't forget all I've taught you. Take to heart my commands. They'll help you live a long, long time, a long life lived full and well. So, something I'm going to start doing, guys, girls. Something I'm going to start doing is I'm going to read the Lord's Prayer, or I'm going to quote the Lord's Prayer first thing from now on, starting tomorrow. I just think that's the ultimate prayer, and I think we should be praying that every single day. We've been doing that in our church now for several months, and a lot of you have heard it, and a lot of you know it, and you probably know it by heart. But I'm going to say it tonight, and you can say it with me if you want. And starting tomorrow, when I jump on, I'm going to say the Lord's Prayer, and then we're going to jump into our readings. So, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, so we forgive those who trespass against us. Deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Have a good night. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.